Hey guys, how's it going? So today I thought I'd do something slightly different and show you what I have in my backpack, or essentially my everyday carry. And since my laptop and my phone are also part of my everyday carry, I'm gonna briefly show you what I have inside of those two devices as well. All right, with that said, let's get started. So let's start first with my backpack, and that's the Peak Design Everyday Backpack. It's the 20-liter version. Essentially, it's a camera bag, but the way they've designed it, it's very highly customizable, and you can change it into full camera bag or a hybrid camera plus your essentials bag, or a travel bag where you carry your clothes. So because I do kind of all of them a little bit, this really works out for me. All right, the first thing I have here on top is my MacBook Pro. This is the 2021 version, 14-inch with the M1 Max chip. It's got 64 gigs of RAM and I think 2 terabytes of storage. The whole idea with this was that because I do a lot of video editing, audio editing, photo editing, as well as a lot of coding, I wanted a laptop that could do kind of all of them really well and do it well, whether it's docked or on battery power. And this kind of fit the entire bill. And it's been awesome using this laptop. It's been 6 months. I've never heard the fan ever go on. It's like this all the time, regardless of whether I'm doing ProRes 422 video editing or pretty intense like Docker builds and stuff like that. So that's awesome. Moving on, the next thing I have on the top compartment here is my cable organizer. Since there are so many dongles and USB-C, USB-A, I like to carry a few chargers and cables with me in a neat little bag over here. That way I don't have to like throw them around clanking against each other, or I will never forget them. Most of these stay in here, so I don't have to worry about forgetting them ever. I've got a mini little USB hub over here with HDMI out, USB-C, USB-A, as well as some SD card readers. Got a few charging cables for my phone, watch, and some USB-C as well as USB-A chargers. I've got a SSD over here. I think this is 32 gigs, but the good thing about this is USB-C as well as USB-A, so that comes in handy. Got a couple of USB-C to USB-A adapter, my MacBook Pro charger, as well as a universal adapter. Got a pen in here as well, and on the back over here, I also have a small power bank just in case. And the good thing is that it compresses all of this into this nice little form factor over here, and it almost becomes like your first aid kit for all the dongles and cables that you want to make sure that you carry around. So the next thing I have over here is my Sony headphones. These are the Sony noise cancelling one. They're not the version 4, I think they're the version 3, but they work fine. They're noise cancelling, wireless, and sound really good for what you need it for. So the next thing I have here is a journal. This one is called the Mind Journal. And the reason I really like this is because it doesn't force you to freeform journal. So it kind of gives you questions every day, or it doesn't even ask you to do it every day. I'm also not a huge fan of journaling every day, but whenever you feel like self-reflecting or something like that, you just open to a page, whatever's the next, and then there are like things like fun times, and then you can just write about the fun times for that day. Some other pages have things about how do you feel, your intentions, what do you want to achieve, what do you want to do in your happy hour, things like that. So because they ask you certain reflective questions, it's always cool to answer them, and then it helps you think about a lot of different perspectives that you don't normally think on. So I really like carrying this around. All right, let's move on to the side pockets over here. As I mentioned before, this bag is highly customizable, and in this current setting, the way I'm carrying it, aside from the top compartment having a bunch of these stuff, I've set it up to also carry my camera here. So in the side compartment, I can access my camera, which is a Canon EOS R5. And it also has the 35mm fixed lens attached to it right now. The lens that I usually carry is 24 to 70mm 2.8. That gives me a good focal range for all the kinds of videos that I need to shoot or photos. But right now it's got the 35. It also comes with this Peak Design attachment that is universal, and because this bag is also Peak Design, you can attach a bunch of accessories like this leash over here. You basically clip it in, and then there you go, it attaches. And then, or this can also attach with the backpack when you're walking around for quick pictures or videos. The same clip will also work with a bunch of different accessories. So that's why I also like this Peak Design ecosystem. And we're almost done with the bag. On the side pockets over here, I also have an ND filter. This happens to be Peter McKinnon's Mist edition. I think it's from 2 to 6 stops of filter. On the side pockets here, I also have a bunch of Good Coffee, Great Code stickers that you may have seen with the channel's branding. I usually wear my own hoodie that says Good Coffee, Great Code, and oftentimes people on the street randomly say, hey, great hoodie or whatever. And if I've got time, I'll usually give them a sticker saying thanks or whatever. But if you like the hoodie, you can find it at the merch store. And if you find something nice or if you buy it, it will really help out the channel. So thanks. And then in the other compartment over here, I carry a Western Digital SSD that's 2 terabytes, just to put some files in there and as a backup. But on the side pocket over here, I have my keys. They are attached to an Orbit key holder or key ring or whatever. But the good thing about this key holder is that not only does it look cool, but it also comes with this nice smooth key holders. So you can store up to 5 or 6 keys. I think I just have set it up just with 2 keys, and it also comes with this accessories like this 32 gig USB drive, which has saved my life so many times because it's always on the key and always with me. But not only that, this kind of, because of the keys and everything slide inside the key ring over here, it prevents like the key fob like this from getting scratched by the keys and stuff like that, or even like clanking around too much. So that's pretty neat. And then if you can see over here, I also have the Peak Design attachment. So that means that with the bag over here, comes with the other end of the attachment. So I just clip the keys in and it's there permanently so that I can slide it in and they don't get lost or something like that. But whenever I need to quickly find my keys or unlock a door, I just slide my bag out and then just open it. So that's the usefulness of the whole Peak Design ecosystem. So yeah, that's about it for the bag. And since we're done with the bag, let's move on to the phone and then eventually to the laptop and see what all I have inside of them. And my phone is pretty straightforward. I just have one home screen and only the most essential apps that I use every day. The first 4 are widgets and they provide the most essential information that I need. The first one is my personal calendar. The second one is my work calendar. And then the third one is basically something that tracks my calories. And as I log them throughout the day, it shows you how many calories I've got left. The fourth one is how many workouts I've logged through the week and whether I'm meeting my goal or not. And any of these widgets, for example, if you click on it, they'll actually open your real app that's driving those widgets, right? For example, calories, I haven't logged anything today because I've been recording this, but as you log this, it will update accordingly. The third one is for working out. So it'll tell you what's the next workout and things like that. And then I've got my Photos app, Spotify because I listen to music, LastPass, that's where all my passwords and stuff are, Authenticator because I've got 2-factor authentication for almost everything, so I need to keep accessing that. Browser for quick browsing, and then the bottom 2, TubeBuddy and YouTube Studio, are related to my YouTube metrics. And finally, because I interact with you so much through Instagram, I've got Instagram as the only social media on my home screen. And then I've got the phone. The red one over here is my smart lock August that I use to lock and unlock the door, and then my camera, and then messaging. The positioning of this, if you look at it, is strategically placed in a way where I can access the most used things easily without straining my thumb. So like I open and close my door a lot, so it's a comfortable spot. Photos I don't use, so it's kind of a reach, so you get the idea. But I don't have any notifications enabled on my phone, no badges. So anytime I need to check something, it's because I want to check something, not because it's distracting me because of a notification. So yeah, the phone's pretty straightforward and we're done with it. So let's move on to the laptop and I'll briefly show you what apps I use on a daily basis there. But before that, a quick word from today's sponsor, Setapp. Setapp gives you an all-access pass to curated Mac and iOS apps. As a full-time software engineer, content creator, and an entrepreneur, my schedule is always full, so my time is quite valuable to me. And to help me make the most of my time, I utilize a lot of dedicated apps that help me manage my time better and use my workspace more productively. One awesome app on Setapp I recommend is Session, which helps you build your productivity momentum by blocking distractions, working in short intervals, and taking regular breaks to recharge your mind. Session also has a huge focus on analytics, so it can help you not only get things done, but also reflect on your work and track your progress over time. Another great app on Setapp is Clear VPN. We already know why VPN is crucial for information security, so I'm not going to reiterate that information here. And finally, one more app that is surprisingly useful is Noomi, which is like a unit converter on steroids. It can literally convert anything, time zones, currency, food, you name it. If you've ever wondered how many teaspoons 20 milliliter is, you can ask Noomi. Also, Noomi seamlessly integrates with Alfred, which will make your conversions even more effortless. I'll show you some more great apps available on Setapp as I talk about apps I use daily on my Mac later on this video. But if you're interested in getting more done with your time, use the link in the description below to visit Setapp and try them out for free for 7 days. And if you like what you see, you can get full access to their entire catalog of more than 230 apps for as little as $9.99 a month. Let's look at the apps on my MacBook. So the first app I use is Alfred. Alfred is basically a replacement for Mac's built-in Spotlight, but it's 1,000 times better than Spotlight. You can do advanced math, run script, empty trash, sleep, you name it. And you can also create custom snippets that you can run via quick keyboard commands. And the whole mantra of the apps on my Mac is to avoid using the mouse. So Alfred makes it incredibly fast to run quick commands or snippets or do basic math or even fire custom snippets just with keystrokes. For everything related to coding, I use Visual Studio Code with a bunch of my favorite extensions. If you're interested in finding out what those are, I've already made a video about them, so go check it out in my channel. I do pair iTerm with Visual Studio Code to replace the default Mac terminal. iTerm is highly customizable. You can make it look pretty. You can put it in a quick style. I also have a tutorial how to do that on my channel. So if you're interested in that, you can check that one out as well. And that combination works really well for me because I like to automate everything, even when I create a new video, for example, rather than creating a new project, bringing in my assets and doing all of that stuff every single time. That gets repetitive. I've written a quick script so I can just run that and it will just create a new project, bring in all the assets, and I just need to focus on the editing part. So once you get used to running everything from the keyboard, it makes life a lot easier so that you don't have to worry about finding things here and there. I've been using a Mac for more than a decade now, and I would probably still struggle to find things using a menu and a mouse because I almost never use them. So keyboard shortcuts are the way to go. For calendar, I basically stick with the Apple Calendar because it integrates really well with both my work calendar and my personal calendar, which is in Microsoft Exchange and Gmail or Google Calendar respectively. So I can see all of my tasks for a day. I can visualize my day essentially in one place without having to physically move my calendars to one or the other ecosystem. For planning, organization, task management, and habit tracking, I use Notion. I have a bunch of templates that I've made that I use on a daily basis to either track the tasks that I need to get done every day or kind of plan out what content I'm going to produce or work on, the timelines and things like that. And I also have a couple of templates for tracking habits that I'm actively working on. I'm not going to go to details about that in this video, but if you're interested, I have a full video on how I manage my entire life using Notion, so do feel free to check that out. Aside from writing scripts for my video, I also love to write in general, whether it's my random musings or technical papers and things like that. And for that, I used to use Notion, but now that I am personally using Notion for so many different things, it's kind of getting cluttered and a little bit technical, if you will. So I wanted something to write that is free of all the clutter and just lets me focus on the writing. And I found this new app called Craft. I think they're called Craft Docs. And this kind of takes away all the clutter and it just gives you a platform where you just focus on writing. And I really like that. And I've been using that for writing. As with writing, I love reading as well. And at any given time, I would always prefer a physical book. The feeling of turning pages, the smell of a new book, that's something that's always better than digital versions. But you don't always have time. So when you are short in time, I either prefer Kindle or Audible if I'm listening to the books, or if I'm really short in time, I'll use short form to get like an interactive summary of what the book is about. For all my photo and video editing needs, I'll use the Adobe ecosystem, specifically Premiere, Lightroom, and Photoshop. For any audio editing, I use Logic Pro X. And many of you know that I'm also a productivity nerd. So I've recently started using this app called Rise that tracks all my activity that I'm doing on my computer and helps me categorize them so that I can visualize where I'm spending most of my time, whether I'm focused, whether I'm distracted, if I'm taking timely breaks and things like that. And that has been really cool and I'm really enjoying using it. And finally, for some utility, I use Bartender to kind of declutter the menu on top of the Mac over here, because especially with the 14-inch one with the big notch, it's kind of limited. And Bartender basically just lets your favorite ones show and then hides everything else until you hover over it, so it keeps it neat. I use iStat to get statistics and metrics on how everything is performing in the computer, from CPUs to memories to GPU, all sorts of things. And finally, I use this app called Magnet to organize my windows around the screen with various keyboard shortcuts, and that I also find really useful. And obviously, I'm a full-time software engineer, so I'll be using a lot of different frameworks and tools to get my projects done, but those kind of change based on the project or the side project I'm working on, so they're not something that I use every day, right? Like right now, I'm heavily using Docker. For the next project, I may not use it, you know, like things like that. So I didn't include those as part of my everyday essentials. If I missed some of your favorite apps or favorite things that you carry in your backpack every day, do let me know in the comments below. If you like the video, click the like button and consider subscribing to this channel. Also, follow me at Engineering with Utsav on Instagram, where I host monthly Q&As regarding software engineering and also do random giveaways. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.